Hello everyone, and welcome to Mysterious and Chilling, the channel where we explore the darkest corners of fear, stories that make your heart race, and mysteries that linger long after the night has passed. Tonight, I'm going to tell you a story about a boy, a girl, and a nightmare that refuses to let go. A story where shadows move, whispers hide terrible secrets, and the line between dreams and reality blurs. If you think you're ready to face the fear, then stay with me, because what you're about to hear is not for the faint of heart. The town was quiet, unnervingly quiet. Streets twisted like the veins of some ancient creature, alleys disappeared into darkness, and the buildings leaned over, as if whispering secrets to anyone who dared pass beneath. In the midst of this eerie stillness lived a boy whose parents were always absent, lost to the endless demands of work. He wandered freely, but with freedom came a chilling emptiness, a sense of being untethered from reality. He was feared by the younger children. Whispers followed him wherever he went. He took their coins, mocked their fears, and seemed to enjoy the helplessness that his presence caused. But there was one girl he tormented above all others. Her hair was as black as the void, her eyes deeper than any shadow, earning her the name the Gypsy. Perhaps she was truly a gypsy child, but no one knew for certain. She had no parents. Only an old woman with a spine curved like a question mark guided her to school. The girl had no friends, and the boy's cruelty singled her out as his obsession. One afternoon, the boy pushed her into the cold, hard floor. Blood ran from her nose, staining the tiles. The principal called his parents. Warnings were issued, but nothing stopped him. He laughed, knowing the old woman could not chase him, could not punish him. That night he dreamed. He found himself lying on a stone floor, bound and immobile. Other children were there, faces pale, eyes wide with terror. The room was enormous, shadows moving as if alive. He could hear heavy breathing and a hissing, sinister laugh, but could see nothing. At the center stood a massive table, stained red and black. In the distance, a furnace roared with flames that seemed to reach across the room. At first, he thought it was paint, but then the horrifying truth revealed itself. It was blood. The figure appeared slowly, enormous, thick, hands gnarled and stitched, wounds still bleeding. A mask hid its face, yet the eyes, black, endless, were familiar. The eyes of the girl, the eyes of the old woman. The creature began to count. People, beasts, I am no one. Do you think this is all? The boy awoke in terror, his heart pounding. He ran to school, searching for the girl and the old woman, desperate to beg for forgiveness, desperate to escape the nightmare. But she never arrived. The streets, the school, even the classrooms were empty of her presence. No one remembered. Not a child, not a teacher, not the principal. His parents dismissed his fears as childish imagination. Night returned, bringing with it the relentless counting. People, beasts, I am no one. Do you think this is all? Sticks, stakes, darkness. I am needed by none. Rats, worms, life, a game, I fell into nowhere. Light, dawn, and silence, you will never wake. The boy understood the nightmare had become more than a dream. It was a warning, a demand, a force he could not ignore. Shadows shifted, whispered, and crept closer even when his eyes were wide open. He knew he must find the girl, the old woman, the source of the eyes and the counting. Only then could he hope to stop it. Every street he searched, every alley he scoured, brought no answers. The town itself seemed to twist in on itself, hiding secrets behind every corner. Each night, the counting continued, deeper and darker, each word a stitch in the tapestry of fear that bound him. The boy grew restless, obsessed. He could not sleep, could not eat properly, could not find relief. The counting echoed in the walls, the floors, and even in the wind outside. Every shadow seemed to shift, forming shapes that were just beyond recognition. One evening, he noticed something new. A faint mark on the ground, almost invisible, but unmistakably a footprint. Small, delicate, yet unmistakably human. It was the girl's. He followed it through streets that had never seemed to end, through alleyways that smelled of damp stone and forgotten decay. The mark led him to an old, abandoned building. Windows shattered, doors warped, and an eerie chill rose from the floors. The air smelled of smoke and iron. Inside, he felt the presence before he saw it. Whispers moved through the room, voices overlapping, some crying, some laughing, some speaking words he could not understand. Then the counting began again. People, beasts, I am no one. Do you think this is all? Sticks, stakes, darkness, I am needed by none. Rats, worms, life, a game, I fell into nowhere. And this time, the boy realized the voice was closer than it had ever been. The shadows on the walls began to twist, forming shapes that reached toward him. Every heartbeat thundered like a drum, and every breath he took felt stolen by the dark itself. He knew then that the nightmare was no longer confined to sleep. It was following him into the waking world. And there was only one thing left to do. The boy stood at the threshold of the abandoned building, heart hammering, eyes wide with fear and fascination. He realized that the world he had known was only a thin veil over something much darker, something ancient that waited quietly for those who dared cross its path. Shadows were not just absence of light, he understood. They were alive, patient, and cunning. And in that moment, he remembered a story the old woman once whispered, barely audible, years ago, how every action, every cruel word, every unkind gesture leaves a mark not just on others, but on yourself. And that sometimes, when the world looks away, those marks awaken, seeking recognition, justice, or perhaps something darker. Revenge. The city streets seemed ordinary again when he finally left the building, but he knew better. The counting would not stop. The shadows would not disappear. Somewhere, in the corners of the town, in whispers carried by the wind, in every reflection of his own eyes, the nightmare waited. And the lesson lingered. Sometimes the monsters are not under your bed, nor in your dreams. Sometimes they are born from the fear, guilt, and cruelty that hide quietly inside you. And once they awaken, there is no escaping the counting. So remember, as you walk through the empty streets at night, or hear a whisper just beyond your hearing, sometimes what seems forgotten is only waiting for the right moment to remember you.